All right, good morning, people out there in the chat. I already see the chat's up and rolling this morning. That's very, very good. I already see there's a question here from Helen. When you were a young kid, did you play with the Oyster Bay Yellow Jackets? And I did for a little while. That's not one of the main travel teams I played on, but that was like one of these teams that I was like a ringer on. I used to play for youth service mainly out of Brooklyn. Also, a team called the New York Giants, which is where I played with Pedro Alvarez. That was up in northern Manhattan. That's where that team was based out of, maybe even the Bronx a little bit. And then occasionally I would go play for that Oyster Bay Yellow Jackets team out in Long Island with my friend Rob Petriforti, who was a stud catcher from my high school team, went to Johns Hopkins. So anyway, welcome everybody. Glad to see we got a good amount of people in the chat. And we're going to start the same way we always do, with a nice cup of coffee, of course. And I've been drinking some stuff from Santa Barbara Roasting Company lately, courtesy of my buddy Mitch. Holds up pretty well, still pretty damn good. And all right, so let's get it right over and go right into the standings. We need a little standings update because it has been fluctuating a little bit lately. So let me get my trusty iPad out here. And we'll get started with this day. All right. In the American League East, Toronto 4.5 up on the Yankees, 5 up on the Red Sox. As we all know, Boston beat the Yankees last night. 3 more games left in that series, so that's going to go back and forth, or maybe Boston will lay the smackdown. I guess we'll have to find out. Detroit 9.5 up on Kansas City. Kansas City is sneaky in this race. So one thing I would like to pose to the chat really quick is, do we believe in the Royals? Do we think the Royals have a shot to catch the Mariners in the wild card, which I'll look at in a minute? In the American League West, Houston's now 2 up on the Mariners, who have now lost 5 in a row, which I can't seem to figure out. They got swept by the Phillies. I think they have their home sweet home now versus the A's, so maybe they can get back on track. But Seattle was a team I had way up in my list last Friday, and I think I might be taking them out of my list today. Philly 7 up on the Mets. Mets lose again to Washington. I believe they lost that series. So tough series for the Metropolitans down there. Phillies have won 4 in a row. They're rolling. They're my number 1 team in the sport at the moment in terms of chance to win the whole thing. Brewers 7 up on the Cubs. They did end up winning 2 out of the 5 games they played against the Cubs. So they're still 7 up. They're going to get the Giants now. Cubs are going to go to Anaheim and play the Angels next. So I don't know. Milwaukee's still pretty darn far ahead. I thought the Cubs played a better series, though, that series. Dodgers 1 up on San Diego as we head into this round 2 of the grudge match showdown between the Padres and the Dodgers. This one is going to be from San Diego. That should be electric. That should be absolutely electric in San Diego. That ballpark has really turned from a place where nobody used to go to where now it's like definitely the place to be. Okay, wild card. This is more of my question. So Kansas City, as we can see here, is only 2 behind Seattle in the American League wild card. Do we take the Royals seriously? I don't know if anybody wants to comment on that in the chat. We can maybe look at some of their metrics in a little bit. In the National League, it's awfully close. The Reds didn't play yesterday, so they're now a half game behind the Mets as we start a new series. The Mets are now in Atlanta. That's always a little dicey for them. And the Reds are at Arizona, who's actually kind of right behind them. So in a way, that's kind of a fun little sneaky mid-pack series, Reds and Diamondbacks. Hi to everybody in the chat. So today, we've got a couple topics, a couple things we could look at really quick. I think we should start talking about some of the young players in the game, which really, especially hitters. Young hitters in the game have taken the league by storm this year. Nick Kurtz, arguably running away with Rookie of the Year right now. Arguably one of the best hitters in baseball, period. And then 2 other guys that are extremely young and signed big, old extensions. The first one was Roman Anthony, who we're going to watch right now. We're going to watch the home run he hits last night versus the Yanks to kind of put the Red Sox way up. And then Samuel Basallo, who signed last night after 3 major league games. He ends up signing a 8-year, $67 million deal 3 days into the big leagues. So congrats to him. Just turned 21 like 9 or 10 days ago. So makes it to the big leagues at the age of 20, which is impressive on its own. And then he gets this extension. He is a catcher. Orioles have Adley. I don't really know what that means for Adley. Seems like he might be on the way out, or they're going to let him walk in free agency or whatever. But I think Basallo also might be more of a first baseman DH type. I don't know. You don't want to cap the ceiling too low on a 20, 21-year-old. But this kid's got an unbelievable swing, so we'll take a look at that. And Nick Kurtz. So those are my young guys. So let's hop over to the game last night, Yankees Red Sox, and let's watch Roman Anthony home run at bat. It's off De Los Santos. Actually, it's just a first pitch. It's a first pitch ambush. So we'll get to watch one pitch of this. But here we go.
On Tuesday.
First pitch slider.
High fly ball to deep right field. And
Yeah.
no
Kaboom, 107-4, 35 into the second deck. Roman's first taste of this matchup with a lot on the line, as these two teams are basically dead even in the wild card and chasing the Blue Jays. 21-year-old hitting nukes into the second deck, Yankee Stadium. Super sick. This is just a first pitch slider. Yerry De Los Santos trying to steal a strike here, but you can't miss into that location with a gyro slider, like up middle 85. That pitch had a hit me sign on the way to the plate. So Roman taking advantage. See the swing from the side. I just love how simple the swing is. So he starts with the toe up a little bit. He's more narrow than Soto, but he starts with the toe up, a la Soto. And then here's the load. He sinks a little bit into the back hip. You can see this little subtle move of coiling into this hip right here. And then as he goes forward, the hands are already pretty back, but they get a little bit further back. Opens up the hips. Brings the boom, high finish with a little bit of a recoil. We now know that the recoil is actually a good thing. And then a little sauce with the bat flip. So Roman Anthony making his presence felt. 400 on base percentage for this dude. He's been amazing. Let's go look at where his metrics are at the moment for the young Roman Anthony. I mean, he's not qualified for anything, but that's all red in there, folks. 384 xWOBA, 94.7 average exit velo. Hard hit percentage is way up there. Walk percentage is way up there. This is a very, very impressive profile. Also, five outs above average on defense. Did not know he was going to end up being a pretty good defender. He's not a burner out there. Only 62nd percentile in sprint speed. But the big thing is this 405 on base percentage. That's elite stuff from a young guy. So that's why a lot of people are comparing him to a young Juan Soto, which if you're going to get compared to anybody, that would be the guy. Roman uses the whole field. He's really, really, really impressive hitter for a 21-year-old. These metrics are all crazy. Yeah, he's got a little bit of whiff and miss in his game, but I feel like they've also forced him into a lot of tough matchups. Alex is now batting him leadoff every single day for the Sox right in front of Bregman, which I think is a pretty potent 1-2. There's a lot to like here. Let's watch a couple Roman Anthony dingers.
Roman 4 in a row. He's hit in. Oh, stings this one. That's back.
All right, so already showing a little bit of a better ability than most to handle the top of the zone. So we've already seen 2 homers on the top of the zone. Let's see this one. Another left on left. And another ball up. So this is a big key, and this is a big separator. If you can not only handle, but hammer pitches in the upper half of the zone to slightly above the zone, that puts you in a little bit of a different category. Another left on left. This one's down, but he stays on the sweeper nice off Okert. So already a bunch of left on left homers. That bodes very well. Here's that first career dinger. This is off Logan Gilbert. Up and away. So again, that's 4 homers in the top of the zone for Roman, including the one last night. Those are all his homers. He also has some really hard hit doubles to the opposite field. And the green monster is going to be so good for this guy. He's going to be able to stay on balls, shoot them the other way. He doesn't have to get too pull happy. Can really make him a complete hitter. And what could be better than playing your home games at Fenway Park as a young left-handed hitter, with plus metrics across the board? It's only going to fuel, that approach even more. That's going to serve you well. Here's a nice one off a tough matchup. I mean, 99 up. Robert Suarez 99 up is special. So already we're seeing a little bit of an ability to cover the top of the zone with more of a flat swing. It's very impressive. This is going to be off of Doval.
Ripped into center field.
This is a slider in, demolishes that ball. Center fielder, I don't know what you're doing there, but this kid's really, really good. So that's the first guy I wanted to look at was Roman Anthony. Let's see if there's anything that stands out. He's demolishing four-seamers. So that kind of plays into what I was just saying. The ability to cover the top of the zone and do damage up there is very odd. You don't see a lot of people with that profile. Also, a little bit about his approach. What leads to the 400 on base? First pitch swing percentage, 16.3. The league average is 30.1. So that tells me he's very patient, has no problem going to 2 strikes. In general, his swing percentage is pretty low, so he's very selective. He's actually executing a game plan, which is we're looking for one pitch in one spot until proven otherwise, and then he's able to actually stay committed and stay with that approach and not jump back and forth to something else just because the pitcher shows him something. So that's already impressive because a lot of times as a young player, when they talk about trying to do too much, that's kind of what they're talking about. Similar batters to Roman Anthony by quality of contact. Ellie De La Cruz, Rafael Devers, James Wood. These are all good things. Now, pull balls in the air is where you're going to find more homers, and this is probably why he doesn't have more homers, but I would resist worrying about this pulled balls in the air stat yet. He'll get better at hitting off-speed pitches on the pull side like he did last night off Santos, but he needs to make sure he can maintain that elite ability to cover the velocity, the four-seam fastballs up in the zone. That's all going to make a really, really big deal. A really big difference for Roman as we move forward. So that's the first young guy. And then the second young guy that just got signed up is this guy right here, Samuel Basallo. Now, he's only got, 15 plate appearances under his belt. We can actually watch every single one of his at-bats if we want to, because there's not much. But a couple things. So first, let's watch the at-bats, and then let's break into him. So I actually have his... here we go. So we just have to watch Baltimore at Houston. Baltimore at Houston. We'll watch the hit, and then we'll watch all of these at-bats versus Boston. All right, so here we go. Baltimore at Houston. He played in this last game here, and this is the first career hit.
Finds a single to right field.
No, he got a hit in Houston, I wanted to say.
He swung at the first. Your plan is to get a strike, and you swing at it, and he hasn't swung out of the strike zone. And now he gets it up.
One thing I love about his swing is how early he presets his load. He starts open, but then he sets himself up, and from there he's already in launch position. Check it out from the side. Sets it, and then rocks it. So he knows what position he wants to get in, which is this one right here. He starts narrow, brings the bat back as the foot goes forward, and just plants it there in the ground. Very little head movement, and then fire. And this kid hits the crap out of the ball. That's 103 on a line to center. All right, let's watch his at-bats versus the Red Sox. Yeah, 8-18. Basallo. All right, you know what? We're just going to watch all of them. We're going to watch the full at-bats versus Dustin May and see what we see.
Samuel Basallo, the catcher, who they're very high on.
All right, ready to fire on that first pitch sinker. Misses it, a little bit up on it, but he's been aggressive. This kid is a kid who knows what he can do. He had 23 homers in only 80 games in AAA this year as a 20-year-old. He's destroyed it everywhere he's gone.
One little trickler foul.
Little sweeper, foul ball.
A lot of people talking about Devers when it
Little
came to
sweeper.
watching
Now
this
Dustin May's rocking an elite breaking ball.
That one's torched but foul.
You can see these metrics over here. 31.93 on the sweeper. That might be the highest number in the league, and then -20 on the horizontal break is elite as well. So Dustin May's rocking a big sweeper, but you see here he fouls off one, you throw him another one, and he barrels the heck out of this, even though it's foul. Not a guy that you're going to be able to double up a lot to in the same location with the same pitch. It does end up putting him away here with the four seam. So that's a good pitch, four seam up. So a nice sequence by Dustin May. You give him credit there. Let's watch the second at bat. Going to start him with the sweeper. Ooh, Sam kind of looking for that. Pretty good pass at that. Now we're going to go sinker. Oh, leaked it middle. Short stroke to the opposite field. 98.9. Has to hustle to get there. Kind of watched it a little bit, but it's a nice double. He'd be a good guy to play at Fenway as well. Just shooting the ball the other way. He does a good job staying inside this thing. He thought he got it. Nice swing. See, he sets it, snaps it. Then he realized he had to run. Kid, you got to run up at this level. So he backspins it to left. So good swing there. And hold on, I got to answer this text from MLB. All right, so we're back. So third at bat, it's a first pitch ambush. This is a third at bat versus Dustin May. Basallo swung at the first pitch now, all three at bats. So, honestly, the first pitch is kind of a gambit as a hitter. You do a lot of damage on that first pitch, but also you risk the risk of doing the pitcher a favor and getting a first pitch out, which is what happens here. He's way under this ball. And pops it up. And it does look like his swing is going to work really well through the medium height of the zone to the lower part of the zone. But I guess we have to keep watching at bats, to kind of get a read on that. But, at first glance, the stuff I like about him is his load is efficient, clean, powerful, not a lot of head movement. And you can tell that he's bringing the thunder from a pretty quick launch. Like, it looks like he can launch to the ball pretty fast. Change up down. Left on left versus Giovanni Moran here. Fastball away. I mean, there's no pull in his game. He's got a little bit of a scissor to his swing. But he's totally willing to go the other way because he knows he has top of the scale pop. And when you have that, you don't have to sell out for pulled balls. All right, so here's going to get another hit here. It's going to be against Jordan Hicks. There's 2 outs in the ninth. This is a good battle here. Fastball down. Split, reaches for that. So far, I'd say he's looking a little vulnerable to changeup. But that's extremely early read by me. Yeah, fastball up and changeup to me seem like the best approaches to go at this guy. Good take. Splitter again. But he also seems like a guy who makes quite a bit of adjustments. Also, looks like with 2 strikes, he gets a little squattier. Yeah, he's a little more in his legs here than early in the count. I think the move is he's a little bit taller, so that's something to file away as well. All right, here comes a 4-seam.
2-2 again.
You know what, though? He closed it down. He closed it down. He got beat up a bunch of times earlier in this game and even earlier in this at-bat, you know, being late on fastballs. But look how he keeps himself even tighter, even shorter here, and gets to this 97 above the zone. And hits an absolute laser beam up the middle. 108.3. 108.3. This guy's got some serious juice. I can't wait to see what happens when he gets a ball perfectly. Man, look at that spot, your shoulder angle. If you get too tippy, like if you get like on this angle, up like a sideways angle, you're getting too scoopy and your bat pat's never going to get there. But if it's at the top and you just stay on plane with your shoulder level, with your shoulders level, you give yourself a chance to work through that ball. Hold on. Let me just erase this so you can see before I show the clip. But watch how level these shoulders are going to be right here. I've talked about this a lot, but it's very true. All right, here we go. Yeah, it's the only way you're going to hit a high ball is just leveling out those shoulders, turning and burning. So already we've seen an ability to make adjustments, hit the ball hard. He does look a little vulnerable up early in the count when his swing gets too big, but when it gets shorter, he's going to battle you, and I think that's big. You know, that's an elite approach, and a lot of time a guy with this much raw power would probably not take a elite approach. You know, he'd probably just sell out for some craziness all the time. You know, constantly trying to hit homers. All right, Red Sox and Orioles again. I think there's one more game that he's got some ABs in. Now, this is the 0-for-1, but this was actually a game-winning hit because there's a man on third with less than 2, and he's facing a really, really tough pitcher in Garrett Whitlock, who has huge separation between fastball and changeup. See there, he slowed him down a lot with the changeup, and then he's able to get a pitch middle by him here. This is actually shocking that this ball gets by him, but he set it up because he threw such a slow changeup before. Instead of doubling up, though, he goes back to the changeup. This guy finds a way to get a piece of it, drives in the winning run, and Baltimore ended up winning off that RBI. So he didn't strike out, and I think that's big. You know, like we said, his 2-strike approach seems to be there, seems to be a real thing. But I want to look at some of the metrics on this kid because I have some interesting stuff here. All right, so we'll go to the bat tracking. If you go to the bat tracking leaders, and he's number 8 right here. And what this is rated by is average bat speed. Now, of course, I had to knock down the qualifiers to guys with like less swings. But this is the bat speed leaderboard. Stanton is number 1, O'Neill Cruz number 2, Junior Caminero, Jordan Walker, Riley Adams, Joenski Noel, Joe Adell and Joe Adell's tied with Samuel Basallo. Now, Nick Kurtz is a tenth of a mile an hour behind them in bat speed, also elite. These are all elite bat speeds. But one of the things that I like to look at is the combination and the give and the take. Now that I've been looking at these bat tracking metrics for a while, is the give and the take between swing length, which is over here. Like you can see the shortest swings in the game. Luis Arraez, Jacob Wilson, Alex Verdugo, Chandler Simpson. These are Stephen Kwan. These are guys with great contact ability because their swing is shorter, meaning there's less room they have to go from launch into contact. So that's a good quality for contact, but it's not going to give you any power because you don't have any. Most of these guys that you can see are in the blue in bat speed. But when you start to look down the leaderboard and start to find guys with like very above average bat speed with also short swing lengths, that's where you start to see a special combination, like Kyle Stowers, 75 miles an hour. But Basallo, for a guy with elite level top end bat speed, if we look at the guys on the top end, his swing length is 7.4. That is the shortest swing length of anybody in the top 18. And really, anybody all the way until you see Mr. Stowers. Like in the top 49, nobody has a shorter swing. You might have as short, but it's not shorter than him. And that's such a deadly combination. Elite level bat speed, which we all know leads to homers and damage and extra base hits when you collide with a ball at elite bat speed. But the second part of it is how often you're going to be able to make contact. And so having a combination of those two factors, I think he has the potential to make this guy a special hitter. In addition to, he looks like he has a mature approach and has a two-strike approach and understands how to make adjustments. Gets beat in one spot, he probably won't get beat again. And so I really like that aspect of Mr. Basallo's game. What else we have here? We had some other bat path metrics here because you can watch him here. So 29 degree swing tilt, 11 degree attack angle, 5 degrees pull. Those are almost identical to Giancarlo Stanton, who is absolutely locked in right now. But the difference is Giancarlo Stanton's swing length is 8.8 and his is 7.4. That's 1.4 feet less length in his swing than Stanton. I think that bodes well for Basallo moving forward. We all know how dangerous Stanton is, but we also all know how bad he can look sometimes on certain pitches when he's fooled. He's going to have more of a tough time making contact with the violence of his swing than a guy like Basallo is with his swing. It's all about that swing efficiency. So right off the bat, if I'm an executive, I see why the Orioles are taking a big bet on this guy Basallo, because he's combining those two factors really well. And also the fact that his swing path, angle, and attack direction match Stanton's is a great place to start too, because Stanton has had huge line drive rate, huge home runs. Obviously, he's like 430 home runs in his career. So it's a really, really good place to be at the ripe age of 20, 21. Absolute phenom. So the young players this year, Nick Kurtz, Roman Anthony, Samuel Basallo, Jack Caglione's on this list at 77. You know what? Let's look at what Jack Caglione's swing length is. So he's at 7.6. He's also doing a pretty good job of having a shorter swing length with a very high average bat speed. And that's what we're seeing with a lot of these young guys now. They're combining two elite qualities into one. So those are the first few things I wanted to talk about, was those young hitters. Because I think that it's interesting to be that good, that young, and kind of like that's like we're looking at the secret sauce of how they actually get it done. Did I miss any hits from Basallo? We saw the double. We saw the line drive up. Did we see this hit? Yeah, I think we saw this hit. Let's watch it again. Just hits lasers, this kid. All right, so we've seen all the hits, so we're done with him. All right, what else we have on the list here? I've got... We could talk a little bit about Nolan McLean, who's on the mound today. I actually have a whole video on my channel, Adam Ottavino 0 on YouTube. You can see it there on the bottom line of the stream. There's already a full breakdown. We watched every pitch of Nolan McLean's debut, and actually it was really, really quite impressive. So let's go over to Nolan McLean. And the first thing that jumped out to me was the excessive amount of spin and break on his breaking balls. All right, look over here on the movement profile. These are average locations. The checkered spots, like this spot right here, that's the average location, and then the big blue orbs are where his pitch is average. So an average curveball, you can see the difference between an average curveball and a Nolan McLean curveball. Right? You can see it in the chart. All the curveballs are these blue dots down here. They are almost off the entire chart. He's got, simply put, on debut day, he probably had a top 3 or 4 curveball in the big leagues. It's going to be number 1 in spin rate, and it is number 1 in spin rate, but also just movement, sharpness. The sweeper was also insane. The sinker also had unbelievable shape. If we go look at his pitch movement metrics down here, and I'll do a little bit of explaining of what each of these mean and why they're impressive. All right, so he throws a cutter, 5.9 vert, 1.7 horizontal. It's kind of like more of a slider, not a great cutter movement, but not bad either at 90.7 miles an hour. Then his four seam, 14 vertical break, 8.7. So this is basically an average moving four seam. So these are his 2 worst pitches. But still, 95.5 has some real velo behind it. Now, the sinker is elite because it has 2.6 inches of vertical break. That is an elite amount of vertical break. It's 4.7 inches more drop than other comparable guys at that speed that are right-handed. So he's getting almost 5 inches more drop on his sinker than other guys who throw as hard as him from the right side do. That's a big, big, big difference. It doesn't break a ton to the right horizontally, but it's enough, and he uses it very well. Now, the changeup, we didn't see a lot of them. We only saw 2. Has almost identical shape to the sinker with a little bit more drop, -1.3 vertical drop. But then here are the two big dogs. The sweeper has 16 inches of sweep to it, movement to the left to its glove side, but it's coming in at a way above average 85.2. So he's creating, he is creating 3 more inches of glove side movement on the sweeper at that speed than others. So that's a big separator as well. And then his number 1 pitch is this snappy curveball. This curveball's got -13.2 and almost 19 inches of glove side break. So it just breaks huge. 80, which is actually pretty fast for a pitch that breaks this much. It has 95% spin efficiency on his curveball. And it's actually really, really impressive. Just raw stuff-wise, he definitely has it. I think, the command and figuring out how to use all that will improve as time goes by. But we were very impressed with Nolan McLean's first start. He looked really, really good. And, let's just go ahead and watch a couple of these banger curveballs from his first start so you can get a sense of the break on him. Of course, I show the hit right away, the only hit he gives up on one, but that pitch, he just left it in a poor location. I mean, he threw some balls that really buried.
That breaking ball hit foul down the left field.
Horrible luck with the ones I'm picking right now. Here we go. This pitch is gross to Gino.
You're on right now. And a swing and a miss. Got him with the curveball.
Ball just looks like it goes, and then something catches it and just tugs it down. Nasty curveball. See ya. And then we'll just grab another one in here.
Curveball, did he swing? He did.
Nasty.
And it's 0-2.
And you see where it pops up. Pops up in the upper part of the zone, and it breaks down hard. So that's what we're working with Nolan McLean. Already probably has the number 1 curveball in the big leagues in terms of spin rate and spin break on it. He's going today for the Mets in Atlanta. So his first road test in Atlanta. It's not the same Braves team, so it's not really like you're facing the Braves last year. But Braves have some guys that are hitting, including another guy that I wanted to take a peek at. This guy, Michael Harris. The second. And I've always said, this is, to me, when this guy came up, I thought he might be one of the best players in the big leagues. I thought he had MVP potential. And the last 2 years have been kind of weird. He's sitting at a 704 OPS. Now remember, he was way below that. Like crazy below that before. I need to check his MLB page so we can look at his splits by month. Because he's gone crazy lately. This is so annoying. Come on. There we go. Michael Harris. Complete stats. And then we'll go to splits. All right, by month. 474 OPS in March. 640 in April. 608 in May. It got really dark there in June. 426 OPS in June. And that's in 25 games. 426 OPS? 25 strikeouts that month. He hit 148 with a 165 on base that month. But since then, he goes 850 OPS in July, and in August he's been absolutely bananas with a 1.102 OPS. Since the All-Star break, he's hitting 382 with a 396 on base and a 718 slugging percentage. 1.114 OPS. So we might have to look at this dude a little bit because it's gotten kind of wild how good he's been lately. And I think he made a little bit of an adjustment with his hands. So let's see if we can't go dive in a little bit to some of his at-bats. This is also a big concern of mine real quick before we do that. The walk percentage. It's never been high, but he's literally first in walk percentage in the big leagues. He's too fast and too dangerous of a hitter not to be drawing more walks. It'll help his team and it'll help him get better pitches. Guys don't have to throw you pitches for you to whack if you're going to swing at everything. So that's something that he needs to change a little bit with his approach. All right, let's go to Harris's game log, and we'll just find a couple sick games from recently, and we'll watch them. Yeah, all right, we have a 4-for-4 game. Atlanta at White Sox on the 18th, so let's check that out. All right, Michael Harris. Let's watch these 4 at-bats. This is a 4-for-4 night. Facing Yogo. This guy was on the Yankees at the beginning of the year. Sinker away, ball. One of my last ever teammates. Change up.
And guess what?
Bangs it through on the pull side. Atlanta's a good place to hit hard grounders.
I know, Michael.
Ball flies through that infield. So nothing to see there. Actually, kind of a bad approach. Pulled it outside. Pulled it down and away pitch. Ready to hit on the curveball. Ball 1. Looks like the hands are a lot higher. I like where his hands are. At one point, he had him in the front and he was pulling him back. But right now, he's got him up real high, already kind of stretched, so it's less of a move for him, I think. All right, he's going to get a hit here on a curveball.
Well, maybe we'll catch lightning in a bottle.
Yep, stays tight on that curveball. Slaps that up the middle. Third at bat versus this dude. It's going to be a homer.
Base runners to start the home half of the 6th. Harris is 2 for 2 tonight.
Sinker away. But when you're feeling good at the plate, that's when you're going to be more aggressive. So he must be feeling pretty good at the plate finally. Curveball away, and here comes a changeup.
Drives this to left. Baldwin going back.
Using the whole park, using the whole field.
What a tear!
Nice home run by Money Mike. Gonna do his little money sign here. Crosses the plate. Yep. All right, let's watch the swing from the side so I can point out something real quick. Early in the year, his hands were not up like this. They were not. They were more in front of his head and straight up, and then he would pull them back. So here he's presetting the hands up high, which I kind of like. Also the stance, it's open, but it's pretty narrow. And I like narrow stances and not huge strides from hitters because I think, number 1, there's less head movement. And number 2, it allows you to rotate a little bit more efficiently because you don't get too wide of a base. I think a wide base is more of a 2-strike approach. But I think that when you're narrow, you can rotate really late and really fast and still generate a lot of pop. So let's watch how the hands move. They don't really do much, which I think is nice. He's had a little bit of a hard time with efficiency. That's him at landing. Still back, so still closed. See the shoulders tucked in, closed, pointing towards the third baseman. Then he's able to unleash the opposite way. All right, 4th at bat. This is how he's going to end up a 4-hit night.
And
Owen White,
who just got called up
fastball
today.
in, kind of jams him. And when you're more in a launch position earlier in your initial move as a hitter, it's just going to allow you to feel like you have more time to make decisions on swinging.
Is it going to be a 4-hit night? You bet it is.
And that's what you need. This game is all about timing. Can you be on time for 98? Can you stay back on 75? Can you decide late enough to lay off a tough pitch? These are all important things. All right, so we filed away where that swing was. I'm actually curious to see where his stance looked like going back to the really tough month with the 400 OPS, so sometime in July. All right, so what I'll do is I'll go to game logs, and I'll just find a game where he really struggled in July. And we'll cherry pick some stuff. Okay, so this is July he was great. It was June. All right, let's look for a June game. So in this game he goes versus Boston on the 1st of June. Let's look at that game. Atlanta, Boston, 1st of June. Michael Harris. I mean, granted, he's facing Crochet, so this is a tough matchup. But check the hands.
Rubber game of this series between the Braves and Red Sox.
All right, we're just going to fast forward to a strikeout here.
Across his body, so it looks like he's coming right at you as a left-handed hitter.
He threw
All
a
right, I just
hittable.
want to show you the hands. This is a big difference. So before, he had his hands way up here. Now they're way down here. And on the initial move, he has to pull them into place a little bit. Like they're a little too low, and I feel like that allowed him to have to, in order to get into that same position he wants to get in, there's a little more of a rhythm and timing where he was clearly off. He was clearly out of sync with this move. So that's been the big adjustment. He got his hands back up high where he felt more comfortable. And that gave him a little more swing efficiency, which has led to better swing decisions and ultimately better production. Because physical tools, he's right there with Acuna, like Dan J says in the chat. He's right there. He's got good speed, 79th percentile. He's got an unbelievable arm, so he's providing sick value in the outfield. One of the best center fielders in the game. But also he's got crazy pop. Let's see if we can find something on his bat tracking. Let's see what type of swing we're looking at here. Michael Harris. So above average bat speed, not surprising there because like I said, he's very talented. Swing length 8, so it's a long swing, and I would bet if you went by month, I wonder if there's a way to search by month here. Let's see, pitch hand, bat side, start year, type, hit count, pitch type, result, group by month, update, and then we'll do a search for Harris from that, and we'll see if his swing length number's gotten any lower. This is going to be interesting to look at. Very curious. Interestingly enough, his swing length has gotten longer, which I wouldn't have expected. Now, maybe that means he's staying in the zone longer and his bat is through a little bit further, like he's finishing his swing a little more out front. But yeah, 8.4 in August. And that 8.1 value has been was the same in July as it was in June, even though he crushed. Although you can see the fast swing rate. He's getting his swing off a lot better the last 2 months. 54.5% in August, almost 50% in June. He was way down to 38% in July, and then 38% in June. Contact percentage has gotten better. Percentage of competitive swings has gotten better. So he's more convicted in what he's doing, and he's definitely firing a lot more. But this dude's a stud, and I'm shocked he actually struggled as much as he did. Let's watch a couple homers from this year. Let's see what we can see.
And he only made 8 starts.
All right, hands are up high on this part.
Harris gives this a ride to center
This
field.
is right after the All-Star break. So this is him right out of the break, but he was scuffling before the break. Hands are up high on the launching already, and wham! So there's one shot to center. Let's see what this one is. This is going to be earlier in the year, so hands down here. This is off Logan Webb. Trying to find a more recent one. We know the Oppo one was recent. So this is off McGill. You're not going to catch up to this ball if you're not quick to it. Oh, the ball was smashed. See, hands up high again. He just looks better. I think he looks more comfortable hands up high. So that's my diagnosis. My 15-minute diagnosis of Michael Harris. Just had to fix the swing. Felt more comfortable with the hands high. Allowed him to feel like he has more time to see the ball. He stayed a little more narrow with the stance. That's something we can look at. We can check the stance. Let's do that. We can check the stance. Michael Harris, but again, we can do this. We can do this by month. Group by month. Michael Harris, the third. There's really very little action in the chat today. I would love for somebody to give me a little info. Okay, so depth in the box. He actually looks like he moved up a little bit in the box from the beginning of the year. Distance off plate, about the same. Distance between feet. It's all about the same, but he's more open. So this has been the big move too. 23 degrees open in July, 29 degrees open in August. He was all the way closed down to 9 degrees as recently as June. So he's opened up the swing a little bit, and he's gotten the hands up higher. So sometimes it's just something so small like that. The game is won on the margins. And Michael Harris, this is what he's looking like in August, where he's been unbelievable. Arguably one of the best hitters in the game this past month. All right, do we have time for one more topic? Let's see what we got today. They gave me a few things to look at, possibly. Kyle Tucker, that's going to take too long to get into. We looked at McLean for a minute. We looked at Harris. We looked at the young guys. He's drinking too much beer when he plays bad. All right, you want me to really quick look at Carlos Narvaez? I can do that. Narvaez at the plate. So he hits the ball hard, but a lot of his other metrics are, very average or below. A little bit too much chase. He's been awesome behind the plate. Looks like all his power is to dead pull. What pitches are chewing him up? Hard stuff. Hard stuff, yeah. All right, let's see what we have bat tracking on this guy here. Tempo. All right, leaderboards, bat tracking. Narvaez. So it's a slightly above average bat speed. Swing length is about average. Not much to see there. Just not sure he's that talented of a hitter. I feel like he's okay, but very run of the mill. He's got physical ability, but it could be like an approach type thing. Can we find him? We find him on here and see what his splits look like. Carlos Narvaez. He's done a great job though behind the plate, which is ultimately his role for the Red Sox. Throw runners out. Great pickup for them. Man, they stole him from the Yankees. He was, riding the bench in AAA last year for the Yankees, not getting any major league time. All right, so yeah, he had a 961 OPS in May, 780 in June, and then it's gotten really cold. 587 in July, 395 in August. So maybe just the wear and tear of the season is starting to roll. It's starting to grind him down a little bit. It is a big adjustment. Catching becomes your main priority. You're putting so much of your brain power and bandwidth into being a great catcher and being there for your pitchers that the offense starts to suffer as you get more tired. And honestly, I haven't watched enough at bats to really juggle anything for him. All right, we got a couple things in the chat. Do I think Mookie Betts' illness has something to do with the struggles? When I looked Mookie, I couldn't figure it out at all. I looked at everything from his swing to his approach. It was all still pretty good. It just looked like he wasn't quite getting the ball pulled in the air yet. And I know he worked with ex-teammate JD Martinez a little bit when they were down in Tampa playing the Rays. And since then, he's been a little bit better. He's still not chasing. Contact rate's still there. A lot of the skills that Mookie's known for of his career are still there. But he's got very little to show for it this year. But I think the hope is that he catch lightning in a bottle the last month or two. The only real concerning thing I've seen with him is definitely a little bit of bat speed droppage over the last few years and overall speed droppage. So the athleticism is starting to fade a little bit. Let's see how he can resist that or maybe reverse that trend. Okay, we have a question in the chat. Favorite catchers I've played with. I always say Tomas Nido. Me and him had one of the best roles together ever. And I can actually go ahead and look at my career splits by catcher, which is probably what I should do. Why not? And then we'll see what this looks like. I've actually never looked at this one, so I think it's after here. By catcher, okay. By catcher, by game. So I threw the most games of my career to Willian Rosario, the baby bull with the Rockies. And then Francisco Alvarez, 72 games with a 2.7. Gary Sanchez, 59 games with a 2.5. But this is what I was talking about. Tomas Nido, 55 games with a 2.33. That's very good. I felt like that's a good that's a good stat. And I don't know, he just felt like he could read my mind. We were always on the same page. Who do I have my best ERA with? Zeros for all the guys with 1 or 2 games caught. I got a 1.35 with Ramon Hernandez, a 1.52 with Austin Romine. Don't sleep on that. 2.10 with Nick Hundley. That's really good. So yeah, I mean, I liked all these dudes. I threw well to a lot of them. My worst catchers, Jason LaRue and Yachty, I got crushed with the Cardinals, so that makes sense. Oh, sorry, I'm not showing you this. This is my by catcher ERA exports. These are my best and my worst. These are my best, so yeah, I always highlight this Tomas Nido line. 55 games with a 2.33, but apparently I was just as good basically with Alvarez and Nick Hundley, so it's really hard. It's really funny. All right, you've had great seasons at Coors Field, but most active pitchers at the Rockies are struggling. Advice. I mean, most guys are gonna struggle at Coors. I hate to just make it that simple, but go to Coors Field by the years, and this is the park factor for Coors Field. Every single year, it's been a horrible place to pitch. And the reasons why are, one, it's got the most square footage in the outfield, so everything seems to be a hit. As you can see by hits, really every offensive metric, it's a nightmare. So that's part one, is how big the field is. Part two is your pitches move less at Coors than they do at sea level. So now you're dealing with a little bit of an arsenal change, which I think is really hard. And then number three, you don't recover as well, so you're likely to break down a little bit faster if you don't know how to take care of yourself at a really, really optimal level. And then part four is you're in a really tough division with really good hitters. Literally, like, the Giants are always good, or mostly are always good. The Dodgers are always a powerhouse. Diamondbacks always go for it every few years, and they've had unbelievable offenses. And the Padres, look at them. They fully go for it like they're a big market now. So Rockies are just up against it, man. For me, I thought deception was a big thing that traveled, that worked at sea level as well as mile high. I thought pitch sequencing, understanding what to throw to who, when, is huge, and there's not a lot of that being taught anywhere. Stuff-wise, gyro breaking pitches with more gyro spin are actually the best pitches there. They're affected the least by the atmospheric conditions. But I didn't throw that. I threw sweeper and I threw sinker. Those two pitches they tell you aren't very good there, but I think it's, the know-how of how to get ahead, how to put guys away, and how to make smart choices, and also how to read the at-bats, but also the deception. I threw a little weird, and I feel like that played in my favor big time. So that would be my overall Coors Field advice. All right, we got something else in the chat here. I understand making money, but when Soto takes that much money, instead of doing the Brady approach, does it feel like winning isn't as important? I mean, it's not like the Mets aren't going to try to win. So I think you get the best of both worlds there. You get the money, and you go to a team that's going to be going all out to win. For the rest of the time that the Coens own the team, which could be 50 years. So I don't fault Soto for picking the Mets. Mets is a great situation. They're having a tough go right now, but they're a team that's going to get to the top of the mountaintop sooner or later. Organizationally, they do a great job. Yankees was a great choice too. I have a lot of love for both of those teams. It would have been a really hard choice for me. I love them both so much. But you know what? He got both. He got the money and a winning situation. For the most part, and it's really hard to predict a winning situation. But both of those, I think, will be pretty good. Do I think the Mets will make the playoffs? I do. I do think they will. But it's tight. It's getting tight. I think Red Sox, I think they'll make the playoffs as well, but it's getting tight. So that gives me a good segue really quick to just do my top 5 teams to win the title right now. And here they are. I got the Phillies. As my number 1 team at the moment. I just believe in them the most. I know they don't have Zach Wheeler anymore, but I still love the way Sanchez is throwing. Luzardo, Ranger Suarez. I love the lineup. Schwarber's going to be a nightmare to face in the playoffs. So that's my number 1 team. Brewers, they finally won me over. I know they lost the series to the Cubs but they still played really good ball. They're still hot. They're annoying. They're pesky. And that bullpen has been absolutely locked down. And I actually think the fact that they play a different style of baseball could really benefit them in the playoffs, a la the Royals when they were a championship team. Now I have the Blue Jays. You know, the Blue Jays, I felt like I wasn't giving them respect, but a big factor that I'm curious is the Shane Bieber factor. He's coming back. That's going to add potentially another ace to their already pretty damn good starting rotation. So I think they have a great shot to be the AL East champion this year and host games at the Rogers Center where they have a rabid crowd. And it could be the year that they push their way through the American League. And then I have the Dodgers 4, Padres 5. I feel like these teams could go either way. I'm not really sure what to make of them, but I'm pretty sure they're both pretty damn good. Really high-end talent. Really high-end talent. And so those are my teams right now. That's who I believe in the most. All right, let's go to the probables. Let's wrap up today's show for the day. All right, probable pitchers starting today for Friday. Senzatella and Braxton Ashcraft from Pittsburgh. Cade Cavalli and Taijuan Walker from Philly. Phillies have been hot. They're going to try to keep that rolling. Astros and Orioles, it's McCullers and Cade Povich. Red Sox Yankees today, pretty good matchup. Brian Bayo and Max Fried. Max Fried's been dealing with a little bit of a blister issue. I do think it's affecting him. Hopefully he can get past that and get back rolling the way he was. But this is a big game for both teams. Royals and Tigers. Royals going with the newly acquired Ryan Bergert, who they got from the Padres. He's been sneaky good facing the Tigers today in Detroit. Kansas City has played well lately. They need to keep going. Blue Jays at Marlins. Shane Bieber. This is the debut of Shane Bieber. I might do a whole video watching the comeback on this guy. Very interesting to see how this goes. And then the Mets, Nolan McLean, facing the Braves, Joey Wentz. McLean's second career start. He looked filthy in the first one, so we'll check up on him in this one. Cardinals and Rays, Michaelis and Hauser. Two guys have pitched very well in the second half. Zebby Matthews, Aaron Savali. Twins, White Sox, Slade Ciccone, Nathan Eovaldi, who's been quietly ridiculously good this year for the Rangers. And Giants, Brewers, Whisenhunt and Quintana, the Veterano for the Brew Crew. Then we got Cubs and Angels as a double TBA. Reds, who are in this race, going against the Diamondbacks, Littell, Ryan Nelson from the Desert. Then tonight, Snell Darvish in the first of a huge series, Dodgers Pods, Snell Darvish. And then it'll be wrapped up with the A's, Luis Morales at TBA at Mariners. Mariners finally returning home after their long East Coast trip that ended not so well. They're trying to get themselves back on track. But this Shane Bieber one is the one that I'm looking forward to the most, I think. That's going to be very interesting to see how that goes. Okay. I think that's going to be it for today. I appreciate everybody joining me on the stream today. We'll be back next Friday. Don't be afraid to go down to that Adam Ottavino 0 tab on the bottom and go find me on YouTube and subscribe to me. We're doing this show every day. I have standalone videos, a lot of breakdowns. We're watching pretty much everything that's happening in baseball, everything that's interesting. Come join the chat. You can get me to really look at anything you want in the chat if you join my show. And, say, hey, I want to look at so-and-so. On a random Wednesday or whatever, I will definitely do that. I have no problem with that, and I love interacting with people. So join me there, and I'll see you guys on the MLB version of this stream next Friday. Hope everybody has a great weekend and enjoy the baseball. All right. See you guys.